Welcome back to IAS Net Study, and this is the Decode Ethics through Current Affairs, where we are going to integrate current affairs with your static syllabus. The syllabus, which is mentioned in your paper 4, the static part, it is going to be integrated with your dynamic aspect, current affairs. So, in this video, we are going to discuss the current affairs from May 19th to May 26th. Most of these articles they are from Hindu newspaper, and few are from predominantly it is Hindu newspaper, and one or two from Indian. And again, the news articles we are going to connect with the GS4 UPSC GS paper, right? So what is the news article here? Here the news article is with respect to onion farmers, and they're not happy with the price, and they're demanding government to give 25 rupees per kilogram. This is the news. This is not important, but the issue behind that, what is the issue? It is the farmers protest. Farmers are not happy here, whatever the reason. If you look at the reasons, there are legal reasons, there are economical reasons, there are social reasons. These kind of numerous reasons we can find out. But from a GS4 perspective, from an ethics perspective, you have to find the ethical reasons. What are the ethical reasons behind the farmers protest, or uh, the apprehensions of farmers? What is the ethical reasons? And now, once you know the reasons, and it is easier for you to find ethical solutions also. And this article you have to see it from a case study perspective. Case study, it is like there is a farmer protest that is going on, and you are a DM, district collector, and there is one person he's stuck in because of this farmer protest there is a traffic jam, and in that traffic jam a person in the ambulance is stuck. Now how do you deal with this situation? Time is very crucial in this situation, and how do you handle it? Do you convince the farmers, or do you use the force, or is there a persuasion it is going to work at this position, at the situation, or is there will there be any political interference? How do you handle it? What are the options in front of you, and what are the reasons for it, and how do you handle this situation, and what is the long term solution for these kind of situations? This is how the question comes with respect to case study. Now here what we are going to do, farmer protest, and we'll see the ethical reasons, and we'll see the ethical solutions also. So let's get into the discussion. Farmer protest, the first, what are the reasons? Ethical reasons. We are not going to talk about legal reasons, we are not going to talk about social reasons, economic reasons. We are going to talk about ethical reasons. The first and foremost is that, see, they are demanding 25 rupees per kilogram. It means that it is related to economy. So why are they demanding? See, they have spent money, they have given their hard work to grow onions. Now they are not getting the returns. So there is no remuneration, there is no fairness here, there is no fair remuneration for their hard work, for their input. So it talks about economic injustice. I am a citizen of this country, and I am a farmer, and because of farmers like me, we are providing food security to the country. Food security is extremely important, that is a basic thing, and I am a part of that group which provide food security to the which fulfill food security to the country. But what am I getting in return? I am not even getting the amount I invested in. So there is no fair remuneration for my hard work. It means that there is an economic injustice. This is one reason. And the next reason is that, see, my entire livelihood is dependent on the income I receive from the farming. Am I receiving the enough money here? No, it is not. That is the reason I am unhappy. That is the reason I have come to the streets, and I am protesting here. I am demanding for minimum amount here. So there is no protection for my livelihood. So this, who has to ensure this protection? The state. There is no protection for my livelihood, and this is directly going to threaten my survival. And since, see, there is a dignity of labor. Even I am putting my hard work, I am not doing some theft or something. I am putting my hard work, I am involved in farming practices, but in turn I am not receiving anything, or I am receiving very less in turn. So I am demanding, I am on the streets, and I am demanding from the government to give some money or some kind of security. So this questions my dignity also. I've come to the streets, and I'm shouting, I'm sitting in this high temperature, I'm demanding it. questions my dignity also. So there is no protection of livelihood. Because of that, my survival has been questioned, and it is impacting my dignity also. Then there is no participative governance. This is also the ethical governance, participative governance. There is no participative or ethical governance uh, in the country at this point of time. That is also one of the another ethical reasons. The reasons is that if there is a participative governance or the ethical governance, there will be accountability factor, there will be responsibility factor. But since there is no participative governance, whatever the reforms or whatever the steps taken by the government is not consulting the farmers here. So even government is ready to do the reforms. And even if you look at the farmer protest in the Punjab Haryana border, the maybe 1.5 years ago that was going on, even that time also this is what farmers are complaining. Government is doing reforms, that is fine, we are with the reforms, but the thing is we have not been consulted. So this is the concern here. No consultation before major agricultural reforms. It directly and directly take us to the lack of ethical governance. It directly take us to the no participative governance. So this is another ethical reason. Then comes, we also talked about it, no respect for labor. Because of that, I'm not getting anything written. Because of that, I am on the street. I am demanding for my own security. The minimum basic price I am demanding here. Another thing is, see, on the books, on the literature, it is fine. We give utmost importance to soldiers. We give utmost importance to farmers and teachers. But in the real life, it is not the same. Uh, you very even eminent literature, eminent even if you look at the politicians, speeches of prime minister, president, they always give credit to the farming community, for farmers. but in reality, if you look at the social status or the social respect farmers get, it is not up to the level what we see in the literature. So the respect, it is not to that level. Even in turn, there is a disrespect towards the farmers, especially if you are economically poor, then situation is very bad. So there is no respect for labor also, for farming community. That is another ethical reasons people are not happy. One thing, they are not getting anything in return. In turn, they have been disrespect for their profession also. And then there is no protection for exploitation. What happens, one thing, there is a middleman. Through the middleman, exploitation is going on, and government know that. And government, even the people in the within the government, they are also involved in that to enhance this aspect of exploitation. This is another reason. And they are the one who putting their hard work, and they are growing these food items. But in turn, they are not getting expected returns, but the middlemen, they are making the money here. They are churning the money out of their hard work. So this is another ethical reason, exploitation from whom? Exploitation from the powerful market forces. And see, this is not something you cannot avoid. This is impossible to avoid. No, this is not. There are so many uh, tools and techniques are there, through that you can avoid these kind of exploitation. But still it is happening. So this is another ethical reason, and this is what farmers are not happy about it. You have everything, you have necessary tools and techniques, everything, but still you are not doing it. So that is another reason. And then induced crisis. See, usually, again, this comes under economic injustice only. uh, Debt related issues, we have seen that interest subvention, these kind of initiations by government. And most of these initiations are for political reasons, for electoral reasons. They go for these kind of interest subvention. In a long run, this is not, either it is going to help the farmers, or it is going to help the public, or it is going to help the country's economy. Your decisions are taken for populism. It is not based on economy, it is not based on evidence. See, this is another reason, the debt induced crisis. The farmers are stuck into that circle, the circle of crisis, the circle of debt. They are stuck in that. So it is a responsibility of a state to help, or to find a solution to get this kind of crisis from a farming community. So economic protection, when there is economic protection, there will be security for livelihood. When there is a security for livelihood, it means that basic human rights are protected. So again, this is no active or efficient or evidence based steps to prevent debt induced crisis. That is another ethical reasons in our country, where farmers are not happy, for farming community or agricultural community, it is not happy. So these are some of the ethical reasons. Now, Let's see some of the ethical solutions. I'll go with the simple solutions, 4 or 5 solutions. The first is inclusive policy formulation. Inclusive policy formulation, in the last slide, ethical reasons, we talked about it. A consultation has not been, government is doing the agriculture reforms, but they're not doing the consultation with farming community. Even they're coming up with the major reforms, but are they consulting, are they talking with the farming community, with the farmers? It's not happening. So inclusive farming policy formulation, the inclusiveness here, the value, the ethical values, the inclusiveness. When this happens, there will be procedural justice. Procedural justice is that, see, ultimately justice, it means positive outcome. It's not the, it is like ends and means and ends, means and ends. And procedural justice deals with this means, even the way you do the things, there also you need to implement ethical values, you need to implement positive morals there. So procedure, if you want to ensure procedural justice in the agricultural community, one of the ways is to inclusive policy formulation. This leads to the procedural justice. It means that not only the outcome, even the way you do things, even that will also be value based. So this is one thing, one ethical solution. Then comes symmetric contract regulation. This is mainly to avoid middlemen or powerful market forces. And what is the value we are ensuring through this symmetric contract regulation? The exploitation that is happening, we are going to directly target this exploitation, and this is anti-exploitation. And the third way is the preserve social safety net. See, by preserving social safety nets, you are upholding the dignity of farmers, you are upholding the human rights of the farmers, you are upholding the, see, the basic livelihood necessities. This ensure, since you are ensuring this, this is going to uphold your dignity, this is going to uphold the human rights. And then comes building trust through dialogue and mediation. So if there are any crisis, how do you deal with it? Dialogue and negotiation. And by doing that, you are building a trust. And this is a primary sector. Agriculture, farmer, they belong to the primary sector, and it is extremely important. This acts as a base for the entire country, overall economic development. For that, you need to have a trust factor also in the people who belong to this community. And how do you build that? Through the dialogue and mediation, through the dialogue and negotiation. And this should be unbiased, this should be without any agenda driven. So here your genuine intention is to help the farmers. So that is how you build the trust. And then comes protect the dignity and livelihood security. This comes under this s- here preserve social security, right? Comes under this point only. So these are some of the ethical solutions to deal with the farmers protest, and you can write the same thing as a way forward for your case study also. At the end, in the generally, you have to give the conclusion where you can write these points in your answer. Right? Let's move to the next article. The next article, it is euthanasia. Euthanasia. Here, the news article is that top court, that is Supreme Court, not for euthanasia of incurably ill rabid dogs. Here, the euthanasia with respect to the dogs. And the dog related this issue, it's coming again and again in the newspaper. One side argument is that it is impacting the human health and it is biting people and people are getting killed, rabies and all these things. Another side, the dog lovers, animal lovers, they have the another argument. That tussle is going on and it is continuously coming in the newspaper. But we are going to focus on this concept of euthanasia here. Euthanasia from a human perspective. Here we are talking from a dog and animal perspective. Let's see it from a broader perspective. Let's talk about euthanasia from animal perspective. And again, this we'll see you can implement in the applied ethics, the first unit, applied ethics, where you can connect this topic. Now, what is euthanasia here is that it is the intentional ending of life. See, I am suffering a lot. I have something terminal illness and I don't want to live. Now, I have made a decision that I want to end my life because I know that there is no cure and there will be pain, there will be suffering, and I don't want to have that. So, it is my intention. I've taken a decision that I want to end my life. So, this is simple terms. I'm telling you that euthanasia is intentionally ending the life of terminally ill or suffering person to live pain and suffering. This is the basic definition. Now, there are arguments in favor of euthanasia. There are arguments against the euthanasia. Now, you can take any stand. Either you say yes to it or you can no to it. But whatever the you stand you take, if you say yes, you need to have reasons for it. You need to give ethical reasons for it. And if you say no to euthanasia, that situation also, circumstance also, you have to give proper reasons for it. Just saying directly yes or no, it is not going to get you the marks. And also from a civil service servant perspective also, you need to have a proper argument at your side. And if you say yes, give the reasons. If you say no, give the reasons. So whatever the reasons are, these reasons are going to portray your mental capability or your point of view, the way you think. Either you say yes, give the strong arguments. Either you say no, give the strong argument. Don't be confused, or don't give something very undecisive answers and decisive replies here. So euthanasia, now I'll talk about both positive aspects. Why am I in favor of it and why am I against? Now it is up to you, whatever the stand you take. And there is no right and wrong, because even if you look at it, some of the countries, they've made this euthanasia legal, and some of the countries it is not accepted. In some of the countries, they've taken a middle stand. In very few cases, the government has, or the court has given uh, approval or give the permission for euthanasia. So different scenarios are there around the world. So it is not like, if you say yes, it is correct. If you say no, it is wrong. It is not the case. Whatever the stand you take, it has already been taken around the world in various countries. But stay with that uh, stand and substantiate your standing. Right. Now, ethical aspects. Why am I in favor of it? I'll give the reason. Right to die with dignity. I have to give the ethical reasons, not the legal and socio-economic reasons. Here are the only ethical reasons. The first ethical reason is right to die with dignity. See, I know that this is a terminal ill. There is no cure for it. Now, what is the point of living and enduring all this pain and suffering? I want to die in a dignified way. I want to die when I am active and when I can handle my own things. I know that after maybe 3 4 months, I cannot do anything. My body is not going to support. At that point of time, somebody is going to help me. Somebody has to be there to, even for my basic chores of my everyday chores. So in that kind of situation, it hurts my dignity. So I don't want to do that. I want to die with dignity at this point of time, where I'm in a situation to take my own decision. I'm in a situation to control my body. So right to die with dignity. So that is the reason, euthanasia. And then individual, see, it is an individual autonomy. This is my body, and I am taking the decision. I am the one who is taking the decision. So I have the right to take decision about my own body, about my own life. So there is an individual autonomy. My body, individual autonomy. Individual autonomy is the key here. So everybody has the right to take decision on about their body, and they have the complete control over it. So because of individual autonomy, it is my decision. So I support euthanasia. If same situation, I have the situation, you have the situation. I want to go, I want euthanasia, you might not want euthanasia. Here it is my decision, here it is your decision. So individual autonomy, it is another reasons where I favor euthanasia. It is not that somebody is forcing on me. I am taking my own decision. So individual autonomy. Then comes this, there is a factor of compassion also. The reason is government or the state, it is understanding that this person is going through extreme pain. Now how do you handle it? There will be suffering, and this is a terminal ill, it is a terminal illness. There is no cure to it. Rather than extending it, rather than making that person suffer, you are showing some level of compassion to relieve this extreme pain. So what is another value here? Compassion. Then comes avoiding harm. Avoiding harm is that in future this is going to be extreme, and the person is going to suffer a lot, and it is going to be a burden on the medical community also. Even for the doctors also, some complications come, even they cannot handle it. So in order to avoid this extreme hard or non-maleficence, I am taking this decision. So another value is non-maleficence. And the next value is quality of life argument. See, I know that down the line, after 3 4 months, my body is not going to support any kind of movement. So what is the point of what is the point of me going to that situation, or to face that circumstances? I don't want to face that. So quality of life, it is another basis. Based on that, I am taking this decision. Then comes utilitarian principles. Utilitarian principles, maximum benefit to maximum number of people. But here is that, see, anyhow, you know that this is terminal illness. You know that this is going to cause a lot of pain and suffering in future. And even medical, the infrastructure, you are going to use that infrastructure, you know that it is not going to cure or it is not going to make you better, but still you are leaving, it is going to make those resources occupied. And again, because of all these pro life or the stand against euthanasia, everybody has that moral obligation to talk about it. So even from a utilitarian principle also, it is going to burden. If I am a patient, it is going to burden me. If you are a doctor, it is going to burden me. It is going to burden on the hospital infrastructure, it is going to burden on the resources also. So on the whole, maximum harm to maximum number of people, it is not benefit maximum harm to maximum number of people. From a utilitarian perspective also, I am going to support euthanasia. Euthanasia seems uh, okay or a better option at this point of time. So these are some of the ethical reasons I am saying yes to the euthanasia. So I told you that there are reasons for yes, there are reasons for no. For yes, I am giving these reasons. There is a value of compassion, there is a factor of individual autonomy. I want to die with dignity and non-maleficence and quality of life, utilitarian principle. Based on this, I've taken a decision. At the same time, there are arguments against euthanasia. What are these arguments here? See, human life, it is very sacred, and we have to protect this sacredness, we have to protect this sanctity of this human life. At most, our objective, me being a part of the society, we should try everything, we should give all the positive input to protect the life, and euthanasia is against that. So it goes against the idea of sacredness of human life. So this is one thing I'm not going to say yes to the euthanasia. And another thing is, the person has some kind of disease and he is in pain. Now, person emotionally, there is kind of depression or a kind of low self-esteem, or there will be financial aspect also. So, a person wants to die because of emotional stress or because of the psychological reason, because of financial reasons, rather than real health problem. So here, person has taken a decision for euthanasia for emotional reasons and financial reasons, psychological reasons, social reasons, and financial reasons, not a health reason. Yes, this is also possible. There is a possibility of this scenario also. So I want to die because I don't have money. I want to die because I am emotionally, I feel that nobody is there to take care of me, or I don't want to burden my family members. I don't want to burden my children. I don't want to burden my wife, or anybody. I don't want to burden my parents. So there is an emotional thing, there is a psychological thing. Another thing is there is a financial burden. I don't want to take money from somebody else. So I think that this is the better. Dying is better than living. So here I've taken this uh, decision of euthanasia because of psychological reasons, because of financial reasons. This might be the cause. So that is the reason I say no to the euthanasia. And then comes difficult to distinguish rational request for death to terrible mental health crisis. I told you that when you're facing a lot of issues, you want to die for other reasons, and it is just a way in your decision making process. These kind of things we have seen, we have read it in the literature also. There are so many news articles that we have seen these kind of things where you are bypassing your health decision based on psychological aspect, social aspect, financial aspect. See, this happens. There are so many cases, and there is a misuse also. The factor of misuse is also there. Other person try to convince you. If your family members are not happy to take care of you, they try to convince you that rather than living in a bed for 2 3 years, it would be better that enjoy the life and die as soon as possible. See, this kind of manipulation also happens. So misuse of this option, it is also visible, it is also present. The cases already is there in other countries also. So that is the reason I say no to euthanasia. And it is a completely irreversible. Once you go for euthanasia, you are done. You gave up your life. You cannot, your body, you cannot get back your life again, even if you want, or even if your family members want to. Or maybe there will be some kind of medical revolution, or some kind of medical discovery. They come up with a new drug or something like that, new treatment, new facility, something like that, which can cure your illness. But you are already taken a decision of euthanasia, and you have already died in that process. Now what is the point? It is irreversible. So it closes the futuristic approach. In future you might change your mind. It is not that for next 6 months you will be having some same state of mind. It is not the case. And you might feel like to live again once you get to know that there is a scientific development, there is a the pharmaceutical industries are coming up with new drugs. So it changes your psyche also. Now you cannot change it. It is completely irreversible. This is another reason. And also there is a moral burden on healthcare provider also. See, as a doctor, I want to, my I've taken oath to protect the life. But what am I doing here? I am taking a life of an individual. This goes against my oath. The reason I become a doctor is to save life, but what am I doing here? I am ending a life here. So there is a moral burden on me because of this legal obligation or something. I am doing it. I'm not happy of doing it, but I'm doing it because there is a law. I'm happy because the government has taken a decision for euthanasia. They are saying yes to euthanasia, but deep down I am not happy about it doing it. So moral burden on healthcare providers, this is also another ethical reasons I am not happy or I am not supporting euthanasia. So these are some of the reasons. There are reasons for yes, there are some ethical reasons for no, and it is up to you. Whatever the stand you want to take, it is up to you. Let's move to the next article. Next article, it is regarding NGO, non-government organization. What is the news article? Should NGO be allowed to serve midday meals during high court? The news article, I tell you, in Bihar, one NGO was providing midday meals to the some of the schools. And this NGO has provided midday meals to one school. And after eating this midday meal, there are around 150 school children they have admitted hospital. So after that, they got to know that there was a snake in that food and it died. And after that, they've served the same food. They did not even go through with that, and they've served the same food to the children, and they have been admitted to the hospital. This is the news. Now, you can see this from a case study perspective. How do you handle this? You are a district collector. How do you handle this? What are the immediate steps, short term steps, strategies, and what are the long term strategies? These from a case study perspective. From a section 1 perspective, now let us see what are the ethical principles are necessary for an NGO. So we'll see from that perspective, NGO and ethical principle necessary for NGO. Right, we'll see from that perspective. Case study, it is up to you. What are the options available to you, and what are the pros and cons of the options you suggest, and what is the solution, ethical solution, again ethical reasons, ethical solutions, finally conclusion. And also ethical dilemmas. In some of the case studies you get that ethical dilemmas also. What are the ethical dilemmas in this issue? Usually if there is a, if there are case studies like environment protection versus the economic development, in these kind of case studies you get economic ethical dilemmas. So ethical dilemmas, conflict of interest, all these things can be asked in those kind of cases. So from case studies, you write down the options you have, you write down the pros and the cons of all the options you mentioned, and you write down the reasons, and you write down the and final conclusion. But here in this article, I am going to focus on ethical principles needed for an NGO. So, what are the ethical principles? First and foremost is service oriented. NGO is non government organization, where there is an organization, and this organization is trying to give public or citizen a service. Usually, these services are given by government, but here NGO has stepped in. NGO has taken that responsibility to provide this service in this particular geographical location. So in order to provide this service, you need to have that factor of seva. Seva is that you serving people without any expectation. See, you want to serve people without any expectation. You're genuinely want to help people. So the value of seva or the service, that is the one thing, that is first ethical principle, the first and foremost ethical principle. And then compassion, again the value of empathy and compassion. You can understand what other person is going through, that is empathy. Compassion is one step ahead of empathy, where you understood what other person is going through and you take some positive step in that direction. So compassion, empathy, and compassion is another ethical principle which is very much needed to run an NGO. Then non-partisanship and neutrality. Non-partisanship, neutrality, you have to be biased. Of course, even government organizations are biased, and even NGO organization, their workings or their dealings, there should be non-partisanship. There should not be any political influence in the decision making or political manipulations or decision or any kind of discrimination. Non-discrimination is another value also. Discrimination based on your language, based on the gender, based on the religion, based on the geographical location, the race, caste. This should not be visible in the working of NGO. These are another ethical principles. Non-partisanship, and there should be 100% neutrality, and there should be non-discrimination. You can write the equality also. These are another set of ethical principles that are needed for an NGO. Then comes social justice. Social justice, you want to, here you want to work for the welfare of the people. When you want to work for the welfare of the people, you want to inculcate all these value systems. This ensures fairness. In turn, this ensures social harmony. This ensures social justice. Right? Social justice. Then come commitment. Commitment, beyond that commitment, it is dedication. Usually NGO, there will, most of these NGO don't get the recognition also. Even the pay is also very less, or many people work for free also. There will be voluntary service. For that, you need to have a commitment, you need to have a dedication for a, so dedication is another ethical principle which is very much necessary for an NGO. Then comes autonomy and independence. Again, the same thing, non-partisanship, neutrality, where autonomy is that NGO should be in a position to take its own decision. It is not influenced by any kind of political affiliations, any kind of religion, language, nothing. So autonomy, independence. So this is another ethical principles which is very important for an NGO. Then come public trust also. Usually public trust, why is it necessary for an NGO? For government, public trust is important. For an NGO, why is it important? Because see, even this NGO, they collect public donations. So since they are taking public money, they are accountable to the public. So they should not only accountable, they should be responsive to the public, and they should maintain value of transparency also. So public trust, because they are taking the public money, they should ensure a factor of accountability, factor of responsibility and responsiveness, and the factor of transparency, right? Then open scrutiny, again we talked about factor of transparency. It is very much important because you are taking money from it, or you are taking some kind of subsidy from the government. So because of that reasons, you have to be transparent. And then non-discrimination, we talked about non-discrimination before that. So these are some of the ethical principles which are needed to run an NGO, or this is a basic principle based on that NGO should work. So these are some of the ethical principles for NGO. Let's move to the next article. The next article, it is with respect to human trafficking. Here, Supreme Court has made an observation, and Supreme Court told that Supreme Court asked police to register FIRs in missing persons cases quickly and active anti-trafficking cells. So, at the same article, the actually arguments are going on again. Human trafficking in Supreme Court continuously from 1 or 2 months. We had a discussion on this before also. We are taking up, since it is coming again and again. I've taken this human trafficking again. Let's see human trafficking. What are the ethical concerns in human trafficking, and how do you deal with it? So we'll see from that perspective. So human trafficking. What are the ethical issues in human trafficking? The first and foremost thing is human trafficking is that you are treating other human being as a commodity. You are selling other human being. There will be exploitation. So human being or a life of a person, it is just a commodity for your profit. So what exactly here, what is the one important value you are compromising? Dignity of individual. Dignity of individual, because you are treating other individual as a product, as a commodity. So dignity. And unfairness is that usually if you look at this human trafficking, most of this, more than 90%, I think, most of these human traffic cases, the victims are either they belong to the vulnerable sections of the society. There will be social vulnerabilities, there will be economic vulnerabilities. These vulnerabilities are misused, these vulnerabilities are manipulated. So what is the value ethical issue here? Unfairness. And then compromise or violation of human rights, because of this human trafficking, the the freedom has been curtailed. The security, there is no security for these people. There will be sense of insecurity. Their liberty has been curtailed. There will not be any economic freedom, there will not be any social freedom, and there will be, they are open to, or they are subjected to various kind of exploitation here. So entire life itself, it is in a caged life. It's just like they are in a jail. At least in a jail, there is a legal backing, but here anything and everything can be done to these. So it directly exploits the human. It's a violation of human rights of an individual. Then comes, see, most of this human traffic, either they'll be, if you go through the most of the cases, some kind of deception will be there. They say that you have a job opportunity there, or you have some opportunity in some media or some kind of film. See, majorly it is based on the deception. So the factor of deception will be there, and extension of this deception is the coercion. When there is some kind of struggle or some kind of resistance from these victims, there will be coercion. So factor of deception, factor of coercion is there. This is another ethical issue. Then comes injustice and exploitation. Injustice is that you're compromising with dignity, you're compromising with human rights, you're manipulating the vulnerabilities. It means that it clearly there is a social injustice. So factor of injustice due to the exploitation, due to indignity, due to exploitation of human. And again, entire all these concepts, if you go through with that, it goes against the basic principle of life, basic principle of fairness. This goes, the concept of human trafficking, it goes against this principle of fairness. So these are some of the ethical issues we see in the human trafficking. Now let's move to the next article. The next article, it is with respect to post poll alliance. The news is that in Tamil Nadu in recent elections, PVK, the Vijay's party, it has won the elections, but it was not, maybe around 12 to 13 extra MLAs were needed to form the government. So Congress contested elections with DMK, and after elections, after the results are out, now Congress broke that alliance with DMK, and now they are part of PVK. It is a post poll alliance. So this is not the first time. Post poll alliances are very common in the country. Now we'll see from an ethical perspective, from a paper 4 perspective, what are the ethical issues in post poll alliance. Is it right or is it wrong? And what are the ethical solution? Yes, if you want to go for a post poll alliance, there will be there will be situations where there is no other options. You have to go for a post poll alliance, alliance after elections, because mandate is not up to the mandate is not in favor of one country, sorry, one a political party. There you have no other option, you have to go for a post poll alliance. Now what are the ethical issues in post poll alliance? And there are, in reality, there are situations where you have no other options, you have to go for a post poll alliance. In those kind of situation, what are the precautions you need to take? We'll see this topic, we'll see this news article from these two. Right. First, let's see what are the ethical concerns. If you are making a post-poll alliance, your DMK, sorry, your TVK and Congress, they are making an alliance. Now, what are the ethical concerns here? See, the first and foremost is that Congress in a different political grouping, TVK in a different political grouping. So people voted for Congress, they had a certain thing in their mind, and people voted for TVK, they had certain expectation in their mind. These two ideology, their ideologies quite different, and they were not in the collaboration during the electoral process. Now people have given the mandate. Now they've taken a decision to form the government. Now this questions the people's mandate. People have given the mandate for one particular party. Now this goes against the political setup in the state. So it questions the people's mandate. The first and post poll alliance. I have voted for you. I don't want. See, I voted for TVK, but I didn't wanted Congress in the powers. That is the reason I have given the vote. Now Congress is in alliance with TVK. Now it questions the people's mandate. Right. So it questions the people minded. This is one ethical concern. Next concern is that breach of trust. See, I have given vote to particular one political party, thinking that my ideology aligns with that. So there is a trust factor. But what happens after election? This party is in coalition with another party. See, I voted for secularism, but what this political party is doing is, this political party is forming a government with another party where there is a serious questions against the secular aspect. Now I am not happy about, there is a breach of trust. So this has happened so many times in Indian post-poll alliance, breach of trust. Then comes, it violates the ethical principle of honesty and openness. Honesty and openness is that, see, most of the, you are seeing post-poll alliances so many times, and none of the political parties, they are not going to give details regarding this alliance. Whatever happens, it will never come into the public domain. They take decision within the closed door, they had a discussion, whatever the deals they make, and ultimately they just announce the post-poll alliance. So the factor of honesty is questioned, the factor of openness, there is no transparency in decision making, so it violates value of honesty, value of openness. And also, see, if I told you that I voted for secularism, but this political party is uh, forming a government which maybe they're not in favor of secularism. Now you want to have the power, but you're compromising with this ideology. So power, money over ideology. Again, this also is very unethical. Having the power, having ideology, and you are giving that higher status than the core ideology. So power acquisition over ideology and the public interest is another ethical concern in post-poll alliance, and it is also going to undermine the political consistency. See, if these kind of post-poll alliances happens, if breaking and making of new political factions, new political parties, this is going to create some kind of disturbance, and these kind of defections are going to create some kind of political disturbances, political calculations in the country. So whatever the political consistency we expect in our country, that can be questioned, that can be undermined with post poll alliance. And then I told you that giving more uh, prominence to power, giving more prominence to money, it means that you are questioning your integrity, and there is a factor of corruption also. And yes, this is open secret that moving one faction moving to joining another party, money matter will be there. No matter, see, there is no proof for it and you cannot prove all these things, but still there will be a factor of money will be there. It means that corruption, before you could have made the deal, before you could have been you could have taken a decision to form a coalition, but you didn't do it. After election, after results are out, you're doing it. You're breaching a trust, you're compromising with your ideology, you want to enjoy the power, you want to enjoy the money, and compromising the ideology. This is creating some kind of political inconsistency in the country. This is weakening the democratic ethics in the country, and this is questioning your integrity. This is uh, supporting the factor of corruption. These are all ethical concerns we see in post-poll alliance, right? Now, what is the solution for it? How do you deal with it? And it happens now, whether you like it or not, it is going to happen in the country, it is going to happen even in the future also. Now, how do you deal with it? What is the ethical solution? First and foremost is that make everything transparent. See, there will be some situations where post poll alliances are very much necessary. Even if you take example of this also, Tamil Nadu politics, none of the political parties or the factions got the majority. Here it is very much needed to form the coalition. Now in this kind of situation, you have no other option, you have to go for the alliance, post poll alliance. Now in this kind of situation, what can you do? You ensure openness, you ensure transparency. So you put everything in front of the public domain. See, this is what happens. If nobody forms government, again there will be economic burden. So again elections have to happen. Again for 6 months there will be a government rule, and it is going to impact the policy making. Everything you put everything in front of the people, and you say that you ensure that we are taking this decision, giving more priority to the welfare of the people. It is not for the money, it is not for the power, it is for the welfare of the public. That transparency is very much important. Then respect the people mandate. See, ultimately you have to, people have given their vote, they have casted that vote for particular reason. You have to respect the people mandate. So even see, there are situations where these kind of where no majority has come, where you can go for uh, coalition or post poll alliance with a transparency. But even there are some situations where where political scenarios are uh, something like that, where you there is some kind of force on you, or their situation circumstances are like that, you have to go for a post poll alliance. And there also make sure that you don't take people's mandate for granted. So even there also make sure that people mandates are respected. How do you do that? You resign that and you contest election again. Not for entire state, maybe for some set of seats. So that also you can do. And avoid opportunistic alliances solely for gaining power, solely for gaining money or populism. Avoid these kind of things. So if you do it, if you're doing only for money, only for power, populism, then this is extremely unethical. Then leaders should prioritize public service. See, ultimately, first priority is the welfare of the public, welfare of the people. Public service, that is the first priority. If you are going for a post poll alliance, your first priority is the welfare of the people. If your alliance satisfies that, go for it. So that should be the primary criteria, not power, not money, not the populism. And ensure coalition practices uphold democratic value. You are not creating democratic instability. You are not creating political inconsistency. Don't do that. If you are going for a coalition, respect the coalition principles. There are certain principles for coalition politics also. Respect those coalition principles and work in the spirit of partnership and uphold the democratic values, uphold the constitutional ethos. So these are some of the ethical solutions for post-poll alliance, right? Let's move to the next article. The next article is regarding green energy, and this is editorial. And editorial here it has been mentioned India's green transition still runs on coal. This is the news article again, not necessary, but what you have to focus is green transition or green energy. Green energy. Let's see the aspect. What are the ethical aspects behind this green energy? So what are the ethical aspects? First and foremost aspect, if the countries are taking a decision, or if a company is taking a decision for green energy, it means that they are taking environmental responsibility. So if you are using green energy, solar energy, or some kind of renewable source of energy, it is going to reduce the pollution and it is going to protect the ecosystem. It means that you are taking environmental responsibility. It means that you are not misusing the resource. You want to protect the resources. And when you're thinking from that perspective, it means that it is my duty to protect it. So I'm talking this thinking, it means that I have certain ethical duty as a human being. I'm using these resources. So at the same time, I have certain responsibility also. I have certain ethical duty also. So it ensures stewardship of nature. This is another ethical aspect. And then comes, see, clean energy. So, see, for non-renewable resources, it is restricted. The resources are restricted, and it is going to create pollution, all these negative effects. So when you transfer to the green energy, the availability is much more, and if you make it more affordable, this energy, it increases accessibility, it increases affordability, it increases availability. So energy equity and access can be extended. It expands the access to the clean energy for the number of people. Then comes, for non-renewable resources, there is there is a limitation, and it overusing overusing of these crude oil, overusing of these fossil fuels, it means that exploitation of limited resources. But here, when you talk about green energy, it means that you are ensuring responsible resource usage, responsible use of resources. So this is going to reduce the resource exploitation. It promotes the responsible resource use. This is another ethical aspect. And also, since you are talking about environmental responsibility, since you want to reduce the pollution, since you want to reduce the uh, dependence on the fossil fuels, and since it is promoting responsible use of these resources, you're talking about climate justice. One thing, what happens, the overutilization of these fossil fuels, this is going to lead to the global warming. This is going to create threat to the island nations, small island countries. These vulnerable countries, they are going to be directly hit by these kind of environmental pollution, global warming, thermal expansion, all these. Since you are taking step for green energy, you are ensuring climate justice also. This is another positive ethical aspect. And also ultimately the environment responsibility, it means that intergeneration equity is nothing but sustainable development. It means that you want to balance the economic growth as well as the environmental protection, so that balance, and also you want to protect it for the future also. So the factor of sustainable development, it is also going to be there. So these are some of the ethical aspects with respect to green energy, right? Now, the next article, it is with respect to question paper leak. Question paper leak is happening very often. State exams, now even the NEET exam and CBSE question papers are happening. Now, Supreme Court, it blames NTA, National Testing Agency, for repeated NEET question paper leaks. So this is the news article. But now let us see the ethical concerns in these kind of question paper leaks. What are the ethical concerns we can see in question paper leaks? First and foremost is that exam has some level of integrity. Now, these kind of question paper leaks are some candidates getting some undue advantage. This undermines the process of examination. This undermines the integrity of examination. Examination has some level of integrity. By leaking these questions, by helping certain students, you are compromising the integrity of examination. It is going to Indian examination system. It is going to lose that respect. It is going to uh, lose that integrity factor. And next is the public trust. People are not going to take these kind of examinations very seriously, and it erodes the public trust. When there is there is a lack of public trust, this is directly going to impact the Indian education system. When Indian education system is compromised, you're compromising with the future of country. So public trust, it is very much important, and paper leaks, it erodes the public trust. Then unfairness, another ethical concern is unfairness. Unfairness is what? Paper leak, maybe 100 1000 students, they might have got some questions or this leaked paper. So 100 people got the questions, and there are 10 lakh students, they are writing this examination, and these 100 got that undue advantage. So there is a factor of unfairness, there is a factor of inequality, it's there. And these people, maybe because of the money power, maybe because of the political power, they are getting the question. It means that there is a factor of biasness, there is a factor of non-neutrality, there is a factor of inequality and unbiased. And these kind of question leaks, compromises, it undermines the credibility of institution. I told you that this is going to uh, compromise the credibility of Indian education. This is see, when the trust factor is broken, this is going to impact the entire education system of the country. So credibility of institutions are undermined because of these kind of activities. And see, this is going to uh, erode the concept of meritocracy. Person with more knowledge, a person who is deserving, they should get these seats. Here it is the NEET for the MBBS. If the 1,100 people, they are getting these questions, and this merit candidates, their merit is going to be compromised here, and the meritorious are not going to get the ranking or the seats they deserve. So the concept of meritocracy is compromised in that. And if that happens, it will lead to the brain drain, and it will lead to the substandard doctor. Here it is substandard doctor, substandard healthcare system. So substandard future. This is what happens. So it is undeserving beneficiaries lead to the erosion of merit. And misuse of authority, again, you see these paper leaks, it is happening because of the people. The major reason is that there are compromises within the institution itself, within the examination agency, the agency which conducts examination, or the people in the government, they have been compromised. There is a lack of integrity because of misuse of authority, misuse of power, misuse of their public office. This is happening. So misuse of authority or a corruption for a personal gain, this is going to impact the society in a very large extent. This is another ethical concern: misuse of authority, who are in the government, who are in the examination setup. Misuse of authority, misuse of power is another ethical concern. Then comes, there is a concept of distributive justice and procedural justice. Distributive justice is that availability of resources equally to all the citizens of the country. But here what happening, it goes against the principles of distributive justice. Very few influential candidates, they are going to get the question paper, and this questions the concept of distributive justice. Resources are not equally available, so there is a factor of manipulation, and it goes against the procedural justice also. The way you do things, the means are also, you see, you want to become a doctor, but the way you are doing it, this is unethical. So you're compromising distributive justice, you're compromising procedural justice. So these are some of the ethical concerns of paper leak. Now, what are the ethical solutions to it? The first and foremost is that how do you uh, 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 curtail these kind of leaks? First, there should be 100% transparency, so that how exactly it is happening, everything will be in a public domain. So ensure transparency, accountability, and responsibility. Ensure these three factors so that there will be a responsive administration. So ensure transparency, accountability, responsibility to ensure responsive administration. Then protect the whistleblowers who report malpractices. Here, value of courage, value of fortitude of these whistleblowers have to be uh, respected, and that has to be protected. And conduct regular audits, vigilance checks. These regular the polity, the solution it is. And then promote ethical education values among students, also officials. Even see, if I am a student, I want to get the question paper, it means that there is no value system in my thought process. If my parents wants this question paper for me, it means that my the value system of my parents are also not good. So ethical education is very much necessary for the student as well as the officials as well as the parents also. So all the three stakeholders, they need to have the ethical values, they need to have the ethical education. And then foster the culture of integrity, students, parents, institution. And all these culture of integrity, they should culture of integrity, it means that there should be a value of, there should be a value of truth, there should be a value of upright. These three values should be inculcated in your conduct. And promote meritocracy. Paper leak, it means that the culture of meritocracy is going to be eroded, but promote the meritocracy, and whoever deserves, you should get that. The person who deserves, that person who is hardworking, they should get that. And then value based training for the officials. Of course, the people who are within that entire examination process, they are the one who are leaking this paper. So they should have that ethical value based training. So these are some of the ethical solutions for question paper. I think this is it for the day. We've discussed all the topics very extensively. I'll see you guys in the next video. Have a good time, and like the video, subscribe to this channel. And my book has been released, and in the post I've given the name of the book, and I'll post the link also for the purchase of the book in Amazon and Flipkart. Do purchase it, and do leave a review also. Thank you.